Toxic masculinity. Let's talk about that. You said you wanted for us to come back to you.
Okay. Well, going around the table, I have like now some more thoughts. Also, like with your little promotional thing, I would ask men to please take those instead of illegal testosterone that's not prescribed, because that can cause heart failure. Just a side note, but like, for example, I know some men would do that out of trying to be more manly. I think that's what I mean by toxic masculinity, is like you were saying, it's like masculinity is like a natural thing, but how it's like now defined is changed. And I think it's like more when men are overly trying hard to be more of a man. Like, you shouldn't have to try to be a man. You should just be you. You know?
Be you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask. So, okay, I hear this term all the time, toxic masculinity, right? I rarely ever hear discussions of toxic femininity, although you admit it is a thing, although I never hear it in the discourse. When people say toxic masculinity doesn't mean masculinity is toxic, if you could separate the toxicity from masculinity, what would be left that's not a gender-neutral trait?
Being kind. Wait, what? Wait, what's not a gender-neutral trait? Wait, I thought what was a gender-neutral trait?
So this is like my position is that I don't believe in the term toxic femininity. I don't believe the term toxic masculinity. I think people can just be toxic regardless of your gender. And I don't think it's particularly helpful to use these terms, because I think it tends to demonize typically men, because you very rarely hear the term toxic femininity, and it demonizes masculinity. So my question is, if toxic masculinity does not mean that masculinity is toxic, if you can separate the toxicity from masculinity, what would be left that's not a gender-neutral trait?
I still, like, this all just sounds like word salad. I'm so confused by what you're saying. I'm so sorry.
Okay, what is something that men do that is toxic, that is exclusively something that
just men do?
Essentially.
I mean, there's a lot of...
I think that makes a lot of sense, but okay.
Okay. I know we were discussing this a little bit before this, but like, for example, if you go to like the biology of like human attraction, it's like women do look for men that have resources. And I guess you can also like tie this into toxic femininity, is a lot of women will almost, some women will abuse men for their resources, but some men will kind of use that as like a weapon in a sense. It's like...
What do you mean? Use what? Their resources as a weapon?
Yes.
What, they like will buy a girl a purse and throw it at her? What are you talking about?
Well, there's also like, sometimes you can like, you know, guilt trip people with that stuff, or sometimes you can make someone so dependent on you, like dependent on someone's resources. I feel like this is getting really off topic. I have no idea, like...
Well, no, but I'm trying, the conversation was about masculinity. You referenced toxic masculinity, so I'm trying to get at what precisely you mean when you say toxic masculinity. Because I'm arguing the position that I don't believe there's toxic masculinity. You said, whoa, you had a big reaction. You're like, that's a hot take that there's not toxic masculinity. So I'm asking you to provide evidence for the toxic masculinity that you assert exists.
Okay, see, I can't use a lot of what I can very well argue without it getting bleeped out.
Are you talking about people deleting themselves?
No.
Are you talking about SA?
For example, I'll try to use soft terms here. As far as mental health and stuff, it's sometimes toxic masculinity doesn't so much... I'm not referring to... Man, I don't know how to say anything without like triggering things, or...
Who are you going to... who's going to be triggered?
No, you're triggering words that we can't use.
You too?
Yes.
Okay. All right, fine.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, that sounds like a cop-out, but okay. I guess another questions for you on this. Do you believe in like some of these other terms? Like, do you think mansplaining is a thing?
I mean, I like to use that term all the time. Like, I get caught up in mansplaining to men a lot of the times, and I laugh at myself. Oh, yeah. It's just, like, the over-explanation. It's also funny, like, when you tell a guy something, and then they turn around and tell you exactly what you just told them, but then they, like, break it down, and it's like, well, I was the one that just told you that, like, very clearly. I understand.
Do you? Let me ask you a question. Do you think toxic masculinity is a sexist term?
No.
Do you think toxic whiteness would be a racist term?
No.
Do you think toxic blackness would be a racist thing to say?
I don't know.
Whoa, fuck. Jesus Christ. I clicked the wrong button. Do you think toxic Asianness would be a racist thing to say?
I mean, man, okay, I am not in a position to, I've never heard those terms.
Would it be, but do you think it would be racist to say that there's toxic blackness?
Well, yeah. I don't.
Do you think it would be Do you think it would be hold on. Do you think it would be racist to say toxic whiteness?
Well, in all my arguments with toxic masculinity, I feel like a lot of toxic whiteness kind of plays into that, so I can't really say.
Wait, toxic whiteness? Nick, keep it on her, please. Do you think toxic whiteness plays into toxic masculinity? Is there toxic heterosexualness?
Yes.
Okay.
You're like literally making me sweat, like with this.
It's a little stuffy in here. I mean, the doors aren't open.
Well, like the
Speaking of which, Nick, if you could let a little air in, please. Wait, so, okay.
Metaphorical hot potatoes making me feel like a hot potato.
Okay.
Okay.
But so just to clarify.
Uh-huh.
Toxic whiteness.
Uh-huh.
Not racist. Actual thing, toxic whiteness.
Is it okay to say, like, since I'm white, I'm allowed to think that? I don't think that's an argument. I don't know. Well, just statistically in the United States. There. Can I say that?
Can you say what? Oh, so okay, just toxic whiteness is just a U.S. thing.
Actually, no, I take that back. You could like go through history.
The other colonial powers, like
yeah, you know what? I don't even know what you're asking.
Great word. Was it a good word to throw in the colonial?
Colonialism, yes.
Yeah,
thank you.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, I just gave you a layup there.
Yeah,
okay.
See, this is.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm bad with words. That was needed.
Okay, so there's toxic whiteness.
Yes.
But and that's not racist.
No.
But toxic blackness, is that racist?
No, I think that's just like not a thing. I don't know.
Okay. What about toxic Latino-ness?
No, I don't know.
Toxic Asian-ness?
No, I don't know. I'm looking at this like.
Okay. All right.
What are you getting at?
That's like triggering. It's bringing me back to like middle school, like
Wait, middle
lab.
school?
Yeah, when we go to like have to learn how to type and like the little labs. I was so bad at that. I'm sorry. The Windows.
Oh, the noise thing? Okay.
Yes.
I triggered you with my Windows reboot sound?
Yes.
Okay, good times.
Okay.
So is mansplaining sexist?
It's funny.
Mansplaining is funny. Is womansplaining sexist? Would that be a sexist thing to say? What are you womansplaining right now?
Well, when I refer to myself mansplaining, I've had men refer to it as like, no, actually you're womansplaining. So I'm just like, I don't know.
But is womansplaining sexist? Like, do you think that'd be a sexist thing?
I just consider it like an Urban Dictionary term.
Okay.
Is that allowed?
What about white-splaining? Is that racist?
I've never heard this before. Also, I feel like comparing masculinity and race is just like so completely. Yeah.
Look, I what I'm trying to get at is I like to use the hate speech test, and if you replace the second word with other groups, and if it's either racist or sexist, then it's probably not appropriate to say about. By the way, Nick, that was just a temporary thing. So, for example, if toxic, like if you replace that second word, so toxic blank, and you replace it with another group, and you determine that it's either racist or sexist or anything,
Robin
it's
has
probably not
donated
appropriate to say about men or white
$99.
people.
Hey, Brian.
Thank you,
love the
Robin.
show.
Thank you,
What was
brother.
for dinner? But on another note, I'm pretty sure the septum piercing girl
She doesn't
has
look
the
happy,
monkey
does
with
it?
cymbals playing on repeat in her head. Not a thought.
No,
behind those
she's
eyes.
doing good. Guys, be nice. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate it. Do you have a response to Robin? You
Sounds
want
like my dad.
Robin's your dad? Do you want to you can roast him back. Like, if they roast you, feel free to roast back. Like, it's cool.
You know what? My dad told me the other day, he's like, the human brain's 8 pounds. And I told him mine was 10. And he's like, yeah, with just all that hollow space.
Based. Your dad and me would probably get along. Probably.
Yeah.
Your dad's a legend.
Hey, you know what? There's thoughts in
That's
there.
a good example of like not like masculinity, but like, you know, chaos and order. They're both necessary. So are like femininity and masculinity. You know, men are just gonna like be more straightforward than women
Wait,
are.
what?
Like,
Exactly. Also,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
but it's necessary. Like we need that like straightforwardness in life, but we also need like the comforting of a woman.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I said masculinity is necessary.
Also, it like reminds me a lot of like negative and positive empathy. I guess that's a good example of maybe perhaps toxic masculinity is like in relationships you need both negative and positive empathy, and they say that positive empathy is more important.
Word.
But I feel like potentially men seek out more positive empathy than negative empathy, and then assume that females need more negative empathy than positive empathy. Does that count? Huh?
I kind of get that. Yeah.
Can somebody translate that shit for me? I have. Okay. Cool.
Because a woman is always gonna be
Wait,
more.
who
like,
here believes
comforting.
in who here believes in toxic masculinity? It's okay. It's all right. I don't hate you for if you do. Becca? She doesn't want to argue. Okay. All right. There you have it, folks. I got some. You guys were so kind as to provide some pre-show notes for us. So I'm going to go over some of those pre-show notes. So let's see. We have. Who do we start with? We'll start with Becca. You wanted to talk about situationships and the male-female dynamic in dating. Hot take: you can be highly feminist, independent woman, but still need to have a man take the lead.
Yeah.
So do you consider yourself highly feminist and an independent woman?
I would definitely say I am pretty independent, highly independent. Feminist, I'm not sure how feminist I am. I guess compared to...
Sorry.
You make fun of me just looking up at the
Yeah,
sky?
You're just...
Okay, that's how I think. I look up
okay,
there.
I do that too. I
Yeah,
do that too. I
yeah.
just had to roast a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I guess in terms of feminist, I guess
Now
I,
you're gonna be self-conscious.
Yeah, I know. So I will look right here, right at the microphone. I guess when it comes to feminists, like,
Are you a feminist?
I would say yes.
Hardcore feminist?
I would say no.
Radical feminist?
No, not radical.
Are you a
feminist.
TERF?
I don't know what that is. TERF?
Trans exclusionary radical feminist.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a doozy. That's a doozy.
That's a doozy.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't take
Okay,
enough
all right.
classes in college on
So
that.
do you consider yourself highly feminist?
Um,
Because you say hot take, you can be highly feminist, independent
yeah.
woman, but still need to have a man take the lead. So you're highly feminist.
yes.
You consider yourself a independent woman.
Yes.
Okay. But still need to have a man take the lead. When you say have the man take the lead, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, I think for a guy to be in his, like, masculine energy, like, there does need to be that, he kind of takes the lead and you know, whatever that looks like, you know.
What does that? Well, you tell us.
Okay,
What does that look
I
like?
will tell you.
Do it, girlfriend.
I will tell you now, right now.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will.
We're so ready.
I'm so ready. I came prepared. Taking the lead would be like him making the first move.
Wait, can I help out here a little bit? Okay.
Sure.
Approaching, sending the first message, carrying, leading the conversation, soliciting a first date, soliciting your number, setting up the date, carrying, leading the conversation on the date, paying for the date, soliciting a change of venue perhaps, soliciting subsequent dates and the setup and financial responsibility for said dates, moving things forward physically, closing the distance gap, going for the first kiss, and moving things forward even further from there, physically and sexually speaking.
Yeah, can you send me that list?
Do you want to send it to one of your guy friends
Sure.
so they can get on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, that all sounds like the guy taking the lead. So, yes.
So I think probably the easiest conversational thread that we can go on this, you say you're a highly feminist, independent woman. Who do you think on a first date should pay?
I would say the man.
Okay, we'll go around the table on this. We'll start with you, then we'll go around. Go ahead, Rachel.
Whoever asked the other person out on the date.
Whoever asks should pay. Okay. What about you?
The man. The man.
Okay. Violet.
The man.
The man should pay. Okay. Madysen.
The man.
The man. So just to address your thing really quick, whoever asks should pay. I want to go around the table on this again. More often than not, are you asking guys out or are guys asking you out? Go ahead. Have you ever asked a guy out on
Oh
a date?
yeah. Oh yeah. many
More often
times.
than not, though. Is it more so the guy asking you or are you asking the guy?
I mean, I don't remember the last time I've asked a guy out on a date. So like I would say
Been a
now it's more highly concentrated with men doing it.
Okay. What about you?
Definitely them.
They ask. What about you?
The man asks.
Have you ever asked a guy out?
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever asked a guy out. No, I have not.
How many first dates do you think you've been on?
Ballpark it.
Yeah, just range.
60. I
60?
was running the numbers. 60.
60. Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful. 60 first dates. All the 60 first dates, they asked you. Is that correct?
Correct.
Maybe there was one you kind of suggest. Okay. Violet, what about you?
Oh my gosh,
Closer
I'm
to the mic.
blanking. What
On the
was
question?
it? Yeah.
More often than not, who's asking who
Oh.
on the first date? Is it the guy or you?
The guy, yeah.
Have you ever asked a guy out on a date?
In 4th grade.
Well, come to think of it, actually, Violet. Okay, never mind. Actually, we don't have to go there. Madysen, what about you?
I've only ever been on 2 proper first dates, but I asked the first one, and then my first proper date, it was the man asking.
Well, let's remove the proper dates from this and let's include like just more casual hangouts. Who's initiating the casual hangout? The guy or you?
The guy more
Okay.
so, but I
Sure.
would too.
Right. So on the whole, like whoever asks should pay. It's conveniently ignores the fact that men are overwhelmingly initiators. So if your standard is, okay, whoever asks should pay for the first date, well, you might as well just say men, because men overwhelmingly are the ones asking for first dates. So that like this whole idea of like, well, whoever asks should pay would make kind of sense if there was some degree of equality when it came to initiative, but there isn't equality when it comes to who takes more initiative when it comes to dating.
I can say the advice my dad gave me in 5th grade, which are
Please tell us.
men are pathetic and have low self-esteem, and as a female, if you ask them out or give them a compliment, like it you're making wonders for them. It makes
Well, yeah,
them
that's true
special.
because most men never have the experience of a woman asking them out. So they'll probably remember that shit. Like if you ask an average guy out on a date, he'll remember that for the rest of his life. Whereas most women, some women get asked out so frequently, they don't even remember it later that day.
It makes them feel special, and everyone wants to feel special. It's like that's also why females like when men approach, and they don't necessarily want to approach men, is because like it feels good. And also asking someone out is like extremely terrifying for a lot of people, especially men. It's like not just especially men. Actually, no.
So what you're saying is that women are privileged.
No, I would say.
Of course they are.
Okay, well, yes, but
You're in the privileged position of never having to get off your ass to put in any effort into the beginning of a relationship.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
You just allow men to approach you. You get to pick amongst all the men that show initiative.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I've had a lot of guys complain.
You don't risk rejection.
Yeah.
Really. So I don't know why I brought it there, but so okay, this was the first. Who pays? Oh, I was just addressing whoever asked should pay, but it conveniently ignores the fact that men by default are initiators, de facto are initiators. So convenient. You said that the guy should pay, but you said that you're a highly feminist, independent woman. So how do you reconcile being a feminist, claiming to be an independent woman, but still needing to have the man take the lead and pay for the first date?
That's a good question. I think you can, or for me, feel like, I think it kind of comes down to the guy. I feel like most guys on average want to be the one to pay or to feel in control or have that ability to provide. So
Sure, you're not wrong. Like, I think there is a large proportion of men that are prepared to pay for the first date. They're going to pay for it. They're happy to do it. But that doesn't really answer my question because would you, if a guy, let's say you go on a date with a guy, and the waiter comes, do you guys want anything else? And he's like, no, we're good. Can you get 2 checks, please? Would you object to the guy asking for 2 checks?
I would be kind of confused, and I mean, maybe if I'm not being confrontational, I would pay the tab, and then there probably wouldn't be a second date.
Why wouldn't there be a second date? Would you lose attraction for him, or?
Yeah. I think I would kind of be off put by that, and not. Maybe I would ask him about it later. Be like, why did you want to split the tab? And see what he says.
But so if it came down to it, you guys end up splitting the bill. Is that's a strong negative for you?
Yeah, just because in the past I've had guys go out of their way to make sure, like, even before, like, I never even see the bill come to the table. Like, they make sure it's paid for ahead of time. So I've had that treatment and enjoyed that. So I think, I don't know, maybe I've been spoiled.
Well, I mean, it's a holdover of chivalrous, traditional male behavior when it comes to men paying for the first dates. I guess my whole qualm with men paying for the first date is you ought to only pay for a woman if she also adheres to or believes in traditional, she considers herself traditional, because to me it's like, you can't be feminist until the check comes. Like, if you believe in gender equality, then you shouldn't, like, and because if we're talking about, how do I explain? You cannot recoil at the very idea of gender roles, but then expect men to pay, because men paying is a gender role. So you can't just throw out and discard all the gender roles that have to do with you, but then expect the man to still abide by every gender role that applies to him.
No, I see your point.
So if you want to be, like you said, a highly feminist, independent woman, enlightened, progressive feminist woman who doesn't believe in gender roles, and that men and women are exactly the same, then shouldn't you pay for your own meal?
Yeah, that is fair. I guess it comes down, because I do believe in gender roles, and then I guess with being a feminist, it's wanting that equality with gender roles. So, but then at the end of the day, I with the logic of me wanting the guy to pay, that would be me wanting gender roles.
Why? So do you believe in the patriarchy? Is the patriarchy a thing? And Rachel can chime in on this too.
Patriarchy. I believe that for history's sake, that the world has been typically dominated by men in in areas of control and leadership. But there are cultures that are more matriarchal.
Okay, sure. Well, I guess my question is, why do you support a patriarchal traditional belief of men paying for a woman's time?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that kind of the patriarchy? Like, aren't you reinforcing the patriarchy by holding men to this very traditional gender role? But you're a highly feminist, independent woman.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've been in situations where I did offer to pay the bill, and this is.
Were you just not interested in the guy, though?
No, it was the one instance I'm thinking of. I was very interested in the guy.
But you said you've had like, what, 50, 60 dates? First dates?
Yes.
With different men.
Yes.
So there's one time that you offered to pay the bill, but you're a strong, independent, feminist woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was lacking in self-confidence and didn't feel like I wanted him to feel the pressure to buy the meal for me. But
you were lacking in self-confidence.
It was when I was like, I don't know, 19. Young.
You were 19.
I was young.
Okay.
So.
But it sounds pretty clear to me if a guy asked to split the bill. Let me ask, if before the date, I feel like this wouldn't be an organic way to go about it, but if a guy was like, hey, are you cool with splitting the bill? And he was asking you to go to dinner, I feel like that would be kind of cringe a little bit, but would you just say never mind on the date, for the date, when you otherwise were interested in going?
Yeah. Shoot. I guess I would still go on the date and pay the tab.
Split. Yeah.
Do you like expect men to pay for every date? Say you went on a date with one guy and you kept seeing him after. Do you expect him to pay for every single date? Say you really, really liked him.
That's a good question, Madison. So beyond the first date, would you like a guy to continue paying for dates?
I guess it would the first few dates, and then after that we could have the conversation of like, hey,
there would be a conversation. Yeah,
if I saw it, going somewhere and we wanted to keep dating, because I guess I don't want that pressure of being the financial provider.
Hold on, but we're talking about splitting the bill.
Yes.
So why you're not being the financial provider? You're just equally contributing to the start of the relationship.
Okay.
The provider would be, I'm paying for the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel like I've been, like, if you really did really like the guy, like, I feel like I've been in multiple situations where it's like, oh, like, hey, do you mind paying for yours? I'll just pay for myself. And I feel like it's something that you can easily look past, especially if you're super duper interested in this guy, unless you expect him to pay every single time. You're just seeking for financial or seeking for money and for him to provide for you all the time. But, like, are you really all that independent if that's what's all that you're looking for?